Antonio, I asked a couple of your teammates yesterday, why do you think you guys have managed to stick together even after the 0-5 start? Um, you know, at other places, guys are opting out. I was just wondering what it is about you guys that you've stuck together.
Well, I can't necessarily speak on anybody else's situation as far as opting out goes because everybody's situation is different. Some guys have, you know what I'm saying. Some guys have the professional level to think about. It's a whole lot of variables, but I would say with us, um, I think we're very very close as a team. You can break it down to positions. You can break it down to sides of the ball. We're all very close with each other, and so it comes from Coach Franklin. Like, it's never the offense lost the game or the defense lost the game or special teams lost the game. It's we lost the game or we won the game. You know what I'm saying? So we one thing I'll never do is I'll never give up on one of my teammates. I'll never just be like, oh well, you know what I'm saying? I don't think any of us will. We weren't pointing fingers. We didn't throw anybody under the bus because nobody's perfect, and that's what a brotherhood is, and that's what a team is. But sometimes you're gonna come up short, but it's about how you stick together. Because let's say receiver drops a pass, right? And everybody's like, oh, or we miss a kick, or you know what I'm saying, or if I miss a tackle, I'm not gonna be. I don't want my teammates or anybody on the team to immediately vilify me because I made one mistake. You know what I'm saying? And that's one thing that we never did. There was no division. It was, we got to figure this out together type of thing. You know what I mean?
Moving on to Joe Giuliano.
Good morning, Antonio. Thanks for your time today. Speaking of the brotherhood, according to my calculations, there's 5 guys from the incoming class of 2016 still playing. You, Shaka, Shane, Will Fries, and Mike Mennett. What has that brotherhood been like with guys that you go back with to the Big Ten championship season? And how does it feel to be kind of wrapping up the career?
Yeah, Lutz is here. Lutz is still here too.
Okay, sorry.
But man, it's weird because we still remember like being freshmen and just being young and not knowing what to expect or what to do. But it's weird now because like we'll tell stories or like we'll be like, hey, you remember when this happened? Or like you remember this person, and like all the young guys don't even know who these people are. So it's cool. It's cool to still be around, for us to still be with each other. It's just weird, man. Like we're just old men now. Like we came in here as like 18-year-old kids, and now we feel like old men who have seen it all, done it all that type of stuff. So it's cool. It's definitely it definitely causes a lot of reflection. You know what I mean? Just thinking about how things were and how things are now and how things are going to be with everybody.
Nate Bauer.
Hey, just kind of piggybacking off of that. What is it like being around young guys on the team? Like, what? How do you feel now when you interact with a true freshman?
Man, first and foremost, it's easy to identify like behaviors that they have that I used to have, or like mistakes that they make that I used to make. And so now I just take it as an opportunity to just to educate them and help them out. Because when I got here, I had I'm very thankful and very fortunate to walk into the position room that I walked into. Outside of having Coach Spence, I had guys like Kurt, Parker, Torrance, Sharif, Buck, like guys like that who really taught me how to, navigate this, because like coming in immediately, it's not an easy thing to navigate all the way. So I think now it's my turn to always make sure I give them like some little piece of game, like, hey, make sure that you're doing this. And it's like the super little things that I've picked up on. Like, hey man, make sure you do this, or like make sure you stretch extra before and after practice, because when you get to being where I'm at, it's gonna catch up with you. But like just super little things like that. You know what I'm saying? And they usually always listen. So I mean, that's a good thing that they listen to me, I guess.
Evan Patrick.
Hey, Antonio, I wanted to ask you about Jaquan Brisker. How impressed have you been with his performance, especially as of late, and what maybe makes him unique to other safeties you've played with in your career?
I would say, I mean, Brizzy's that's who he is. That's who he is. He's been doing this. He was doing it for a long time, even back into the summertime. Like, I know the DBs, they like the safeties in the corners, they took it, and even the linebackers, they made it an emphasis to try to get to the ball, get turnovers, and throughout camp, Brizzy was all over the field. Him and Lamont was just all over the field. The corners, all over the field, going for the ball. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not surprised, because when you practice things enough, eventually it's gonna show up in the game, and that's why you practice, to prepare for the game. So, I'm not at all surprised at the games that Brizzy's been having. He comes in, he go to work every day, and he's a great teammate, and he does what's asked of him, and he does even more than what's asked of him. So he's physical. He can make these open field tackles. He can get to the ball. He can cause turnovers. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just finally glad that people are finally seeing the fruits of his labor, I guess, so to speak.
Peter Terpstra.
Hey, Antonio, regardless of if you're able to take an extra year or not, because eligibility is kind of weird with all the COVID stuff. Looking back at your growth, kind of at your time at Penn State, how prepared are you for life? Thanks to, your last 5 years.
I've learned a lot about myself since I've been here. The main thing that I've learned is how to be efficient and organized with everything. Because so when I first got here, the thing that really like struck me as like different was like when we're in the team meeting and Coach Franklin shows us the practice schedule. Like in high school, I wasn't prepared for that. Like I wasn't like, oh, like what do you mean? Like you're telling us what we're about to do? Because it would just be like we're doing offense, and then all of a sudden, okay, now it's time for defense. And I'm just like, there was no real like organization. So when I got here, that's one thing I figured out. I'm like, okay, I figured out how to be process oriented, little habits. I never like being late for anything, but it's a clear emphasis here. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be very early to meetings. Yeah, I also learned, what hard work really is. I thought I had a grasp of what hard work was, and then you go through your first set of winter workouts and you realize you have absolutely no idea what hard work is. So I'm thankful for my strength coach, Coach Losi, for that, really showing me how to work hard. And then I learned how to take skills that I had, in the weight room and apply it to different areas, like taking the skill that you have and applying it to some other thing. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to use all of your talents as much as you can. And I've also learned, man, you got to get in where you fit in. Like you can't be nobody else but you. Like I'm not some Aaron Donald type of D tackle, man. Like I'm not out here swimming blocks, getting triple teams, spinning around people, and still making a sack. Like, that's not me, bro. And I struggled with that for a long time, but then I just realized, like, bro, you got to do what works. You got to do what works for you. You know what I'm saying? You got to get in where you fit in and play your game. It's a lot more that I could go into, but I think as far as life goes, I think the skills and the things that I've learned here are very, very valuable that I'll carry on.
Tyler Donahue.
Good morning, Antonio. We appreciate your time. Wanted to get back into that senior eligibility thing because James Franklin told us yesterday that the conversations are just different right now with your class because of that kind of hanging in the air with the NCAA rule change. Are you going to go into those postseason conversations with an open mind? Do you kind of feel like you know where you want to be in 2021, whether it's on a college campus or pursuing the next stage of your football career or whatever you want to do in life? How are you kind of wrapping your head around this opportunity that none of you expected?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not thinking about it too much. Only thing I'm really focused on right now is the task at hand. The task at hand is playing Michigan State on Saturday. I can't, you know what I'm saying? I can't think too far ahead or, anything like that. I have to completely stay focused on what the task at hand is, because if I let other things distract me, I'm not going to be able to put my best foot forward. You know what I'm saying? And help my team win a game. So I know it's a different thing. I'm fortunate. I think we're fortunate that, the NCAA gave us that opportunity. But I'm just still really focused on the season right now, what's left of it.
Rich Garcella.
Antonio, Joe asked you earlier about the guys that you came in with, and one in particular is from my area, Mike Bennett. What were your first impressions of him, and what have you taught each other, and how has your relationship evolved?
Man, Mike, one thing I learned very quickly about Mike is that Mike's he's very consistent. He's like, how do I explain Mike? He's first of all, he's a good friend. He's a great teammate, great friend, great dude. It was funny actually. Like, me and Mike had a moment. We had a moment our freshman year at a concert. We were just sitting there and like just enjoying the music, and like we just had this moment, and he was like, bro, we can do anything. Like, he was like, dog, like we really could come in here and like really win championships and do whatever it is that we want. And he was like, bro, like we really have a chance to be great. I'm like, yeah, dude. Like, it was just this moment. And like when I did my share in front of the team, like I talked about it, it was crazy. And like ever since then, like, me and Mike hit each other every day in practice for a couple periods. So I would definitely say he's made me a better defensive lineman without a doubt. He's very consistent. Like Mike is a lot strong. He's very strong. He's very, very strong. He's always he can move very well too. Like his pro shuttle is crazy. He's very resilient. He battles through a lot of things. He's not a guy that complains a whole lot. He just shows up. He goes to work. I got a lot of respect for Mike, and I know, however this thing goes, he's gonna end up on somebody's roster. I know he is. He's gonna end up on somebody's 53-man roster in the future. Like I just know it.
Audrey Snyder.
Hey, Antonio, good morning. Hope you're well. I wanted to ask you something that your teammates were asked yesterday regarding COVID and all the sacrifices you guys have made just to get on the field this year, to have an opportunity to play. Shaka said that we don't really kind of know half of it, that after games, nothing's normal. You guys are huddling around TVs, watching games, that kind of thing. What are maybe some of those sacrifices that you individually have made just to get on the field this year?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, like Shock said, man, there's nothing to do. So, I mean, I don't, just personally, I'm making sure that I'm taking my health very, very seriously. Like I'm already like a pretty clean person, pre, end of the world. But now I'm like in like overdrive. Like I got Clorox wipes all over the place. Like I'm not around people who aren't on the team pretty much. Like I'm just really not. I think like what Shock said is absolutely right. Like we after the games, we either get on the plane and come home or you just walk back to the house, and depending on what time the game was, we just sit around and watch watch other people play football. Like it's not much to do. You know what I'm saying? We go to school in the middle of nowhere pretty much. So and there's not a lot of people here. Just because, for the school sending people home and what I'm saying, like the way that they structured the semester. So man, I mean the sacrifices are necessary. That's one of our core values. And I think that's one of my favorite ones because, success isn't free. There's always something that you got to sacrifice in order to, what I'm saying, to be successful in whatever you want to do. So yeah, it's definitely been weird, like not being able to, be around people, but you gotta stay in the house, bro. Like it's either you stay in the house or you out for 3 weeks. Like, what do you want to do? So,
We have time for 2 more questions. First, we'll go to Partha Padje.
Hey, Antonio, appreciate you doing this. Thank you. I got here a little bit late, so I'm not sure if you've been asked this already, so I'm sorry if you have. But, throughout your, 5 years at Penn State, obviously there's been times where you probably felt like you were on top of the world. Y'all won 11 games last year, won a Cotton Bowl. With this year just being what it is, in terms of, COVID, no fans, starting off by losing 5 games, at what point in this year did you kind of come to terms with this is the reality of your senior year, and how did you cope with that?
Man, I'm still on top of the world, man. Bro, I'm just a kid. I'm just a kid from Columbus, Ohio, man, who didn't have very many offers out of high school. I thought I at a certain point, I never thought I was going to play college football. I've been playing football since I was 5. I'm 23 now. Still on top of the world, man. Like, even though there's no fans in the stadium and ain't nobody's going to be out there, what I'm saying, for senior day, except like our parents, bro. But like, man, I have a degree for free, at least monetarily wise, it was free. Like, I don't know, man. Like my mom texted me yesterday, showed me she put my degrees in frames. Like, bro, I'm the only person in my family with a college degree, man. So I'm playing big time ball in one of the best conferences in the country in college football. I play for a historic program. I'm a letterman. I'm a part of the second biggest alumni base. I don't know if it's first or second, but like this huge alumni base. Like, bro, people care about what I think for the time being. Like, bro, I'm still on top of the world, man. Like, regardless of what happens. Like, as a kid, if 5-year-old me looked at 23-year-old me, you know what I'm saying? There are certain things that are different. I definitely thought as a kid, I'd be in the NFL by now. You know what I'm saying? But if little me looked at me right now, I 100% know that little me would be happy. So that's how I think about things. Like I worked way too hard to get to where I'm at. And the one time adversity hits, to be like, oh well, I guess it was all for nothing. Can't do that. You know what I'm saying?
We'll go to Matt Rudisil and then Rich Scarcella. You'll finish us out.
Awesome. Thanks, Antonio, for your time today. So while we're on the subject of reflection over your career, maybe just answer this, but if you could pick one or two moments over your Penn State career to define your legacy, what would they be?
Man, that's a good one. I would say firstly, I would say the Big Ten championship. Even though I was a freshman, I didn't play in that game. To me, it kind of set a tone with me, and it's something that I, for a long time, have aspired to do again, because I have tremendous respect for the guys that went out there and did it, because now, as an old man, I understand how hard that is. I understand how hard it is to win a college football game. It's not easy. I know what it means to put the work in, and then against all odds, finish it out. You know, I know what that means now. So I would say that's one, because I came from my high school. We didn't win any games, and then less than a year later, I have a conference championship. So I think that kind of set the tone for, my thought process. As far as number two, I mean, I think there's a lot. There was one specific play when we played Wisconsin in 2017. It was one specific play where they brought basically two extra O linemen that wore eligible numbers and stacked them right behind the O line. And it was power. They're running the ball right there. This is Wisconsin. You know what I'm saying? So, and I looked at them, I seen it, and I was like, oh yeah, it's coming right here. Like, I said it out loud. I was like, it's coming right here. I'll see you in a second. And it was like a fourth down stop, and we stopped them. And I was just like, yo, it was a crazy feeling. And then obviously I would say the sack that I had against Justin this year, just because it was my first solo sack of my career, and it happened to be, you know what I'm saying, in Beaver Stadium. My mom almost fainted, so I think that was cool. Those are some moments that I would say that are prevalent to me.
Go ahead, Rich.
Antonio, understanding and acknowledging the team's 1-0 mentality, how much more significance does this game Saturday have, considering it's your last at Beaver Stadium and that you guys haven't won a home game this year?
I understand, how people's emotions can be high, but I'm an emotional person myself. But however, like I said, one thing I've learned here is how to be efficient and process oriented and detailed. So you can't, football is an emotional game, but you know what I'm saying? I don't think about outside factors like that. All I know is that my key in this play is either the guard or the center, and I have to hold this A gap or this B gap, and I got to do my job. And because I know the other 10 guys are relying on me, and I'm relying on the other 10 guys. Potentially the last game at Beaver Stadium for me. It's not how I imagined it, obviously, but also, like I said, I'm still on top of the world, man. Like, it's a special place, because you can look up in there, you can just be in that stadium, and you just look around, and you can remember all the crowds and how, just the environment, all the people, like walking through the tunnel, you know what I'm saying? Coming into the locker room, they got the music on, and you know what I'm saying? Guys just all over the locker room having fun, going out, playing the game, coming back in the locker room with a win, and the lights is on, and everybody dancing and all that. So, it'll feel a little weird. I'm sure it will, just because, when after the seniors come out and they do their thing, they come back in the locker room, it's always like a standing ovation for them. Everybody always claps for them, but it's just like, I never thought it would be me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just you don't think about putting yourself in that situation until you're in it. So it'll definitely be an experience. I'm excited for it. Excited to go out and play again. And hopefully, you know what I'm saying, we end this, the right way.